Welcome to The Kingstonian, a podcast that profiles people who are passionate about what they do for a living, what organization they belong to, or the community they are a part of. My name is Dave Cunningham. Something a little different with this episode, given the season, and for those who celebrate it, our guest is Santa Claus. Need I say more? Santa, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you very much, Dave, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas back to you. I know we're recording this conversation on Christmas Eve, and you are incredibly busy getting ready for your big night. And I certainly appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk to us. And I want to start with asking about any last-minute preparations for the flight. We know the workshop is famous for all the magic that goes on in there. And can you share a little bit about how the elves help you create such wonderful gifts and get them ready for delivery?
Well, Dave, I like to think that I empower my elves. I encourage them to think outside the box. So when they're making gifts, it might not be the standard wagon or train set. I like to create innovative gifts that I think the kids will like. And I ask the elves for input when I do that. What are the kids going to like this year? Right. And we monitor things very closely. So we have a good idea of where things are going with children nowadays. And, we've had to transition to technology and try to stay on top of technology. We've built a new arm of the workshop that handles all the electronic stuff. We still have the traditional stuff in the background, but we have another arm that creates some of the electronic devices. So, the elves are very good at that. They're my backbone, really. They make things happen. And, I'm the guy that kind of walks around the workshop and makes sure that things are up to our standard. We're very careful with quality. We want to make sure that we build quality gifts up there. So it's a team environment. We have lots of fun, but it is a team environment.
You have to come up with gifts for all kinds of kids from all over the world. And I'm wondering if you have any favorite types of gifts that you like to pass along to the kids.
I still like the traditional stuff. I just when a child comes up and sits on my knee and asks me for a train set or a wagon, those are the types of things that they're near and dear to my heart. Yet the electronics are out there. We know that, and kids want iPods and things like that. But the traditional gifts are the ones that, I really warm up to.
Now you have a crew of reindeer who help you out during your trip tonight.
Yep.
Any reindeer stories you can pass along from the many nights you've used them?
Well, yes, there's a few stories kicking around about the reindeer. One that comes to mind is Mrs. Claus decided I should be a little bit healthier, the last couple of years. So she started to feed me salads, and in those salads were carrots. And the reindeer got a little bit confused and thought, well, if Santa Claus is eating carrots, then we should be eating the cookies. So they were sneaking my cookies from time to time, and I actually caught them. I caught them in the barn with some cookies, and I said, "What are you guys doing, eating Santa's cookies?" And they said, "Well, if you're eating our carrots, we're going to eat your cookies." So that's a story I like to tell.
The sleigh that you're using has a lot of secrets built into it, and I'm sure there's secrets that plane manufacturers all around the world would love to know. Can you share just one secret about that sleigh and how it works?
Well, the Santa sleigh is mysterious. He has to keep it that way, and he's been able to do that over the hundreds of years. It does have GPS technology, which is something that we need nowadays. Other than the GPS, I really can't share how it's powered because that is a secret. It only happens on Christmas Eve. Everybody asks me when I travel. I do, lots of events everywhere. And people ask me, how come you didn't bring the sleigh? Well, Santa's sleigh, the magic only happens on Christmas Eve.
Gets a lot of mileage because it's only
It,
used one
it,
night.
it does. It does. And so does Santa.
Now, tradition has it that you use that sleigh and you typically land on the roof and go down the chimney.
Yep.
And given advances in technology, there are a lot of chimneys that have been capped because they don't have the same kind of fireplace underneath. Have you ever had to go in the front door?
Yes, many times.
Anytime.
Many times. In fact, yeah, that's probably the choice nowadays because, like you say, the chimneys are not the same as they used to be. And moms and dads will a lot of the times tell me that they've given me access to certain points of the house so I can get in. It makes it a lot easier for me.
You have been spreading joy for centuries, and I'd like to know what keeps you energized and motivated year after year.
Well, Dave, I think if you could if you could be in my shoes and have a little boy or a girl sitting on your knee and you look at them and you see that excitement in their eyes, that's all I need to motivate me. It's that sense of believing, and it's just absolutely incredible. Yeah, I was at an event today where there was so many boys and girls, probably a couple of hundred boys and girls that came up to visit me, and you just see that excitement, and they look at you, and it's just an amazing feeling, and that motivates me for the whole year.
We talked a little bit about some of the technology that you're using these days, and I'm wondering how you track all of the requests for gifts from the kids, and I'm wondering if you have an app for that.
We actually do. Um, there's an elf app out there that the elves use. We have monitors throughout the North Pole in the workshops, and there's screens and pictures of boys and girls, and they're asking Santa Claus for certain things at Christmas time, and it's a huge database that we collect through the year. And we go through that database at the end of the year to see what the kids are going to like. And I also have my magic book that I go through to make sure who's naughty and nice. And it's still that's pretty historic as well. That's my traditional book that still works to this day. And that list, I check it not only once, I check it twice.
We talked about kids coming to visit you and sitting on your lap, and I'm wondering if you've had any memorable moments when a child's come up and sat down and chatted with you.
I've had so many memories over the years, Dave. This wasn't really a child sitting on my lap because this was during the time of COVID, and we did a lot of things, a lot of visits online. And I was chatting with a family, and I could hear a dog barking in the background. And I said, "Oh, I can hear your puppy barking in the background. What's your puppy's name?" And the little girl said, "Well, you should know, Santa. You gave him to us last year." So Santa got caught on that one. And that story always comes to mind. I never forget that. And it was so innocent and so perfect.
hmm hmm Given the fact that you've been around a long time, are there any Christmas trends that have surprised you? Changes that have been made or come about on their own?
Yeah, I think, the biggest is the technology nowadays. I mean, that's huge. I try to stay on top of it. I'll never stay ahead of it, but we try to stay on top of it. And that's the biggest change that's come along. It's not like I said before, it's not the wagons and the trains that the kids want all the time. It's technology, which technology is great. Look where it's taken us.
hmm
There's no doubt in my mind that technology is very important, and it's certainly important in children's lives.
Okay, Santa, let's talk cookies.
Mm.
Favorite cookie?
Well, me tell you, I have kids that come up and sit on my knee and they ask me what my favorite cookie is, and I say all cookies because I love them all. But the old chocolate chip cookie is just
The old
like
standby.
it is the standby. But shortbreads are a close second,
Hmm.
and gingerbread are in there as well. So there's really not a cookie that I don't like. And homemade are always the best.
Hmm.
I've tried cookies from that have been baked in every kitchen across the world, and I love them all.
Now, you mentioned Mrs. Claus is taking notice of your health and
Yep,
asking you to eat certain things that are better for you.
that's correct.
And I would imagine that she gets you revved up to go on a special diet in the lead up to Christmas Eve.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if you consider Christmas Eve your cheat day on your diet. Obviously, if you're going to be munching cookies.
Well, yes. So the day before Christmas is when I'm allowed to pretty much eat whatever I want. I can have as many cookies as I think I should have. I eat a big breakfast. I eat a lunch. And just before I leave, I have a good meal that's going to carry me through the whole night. But I also balance that. So I always eat my broccoli. Let's put it that way.
We all know that the far north is a beautiful place. And what's a typical day for you and your team in the off season?
Well, really, there is no off season. Everybody thinks that right after Christmas we can relax, but on the 26th, we start preparing for the next year. However, it is not quite as busy as the weeks leading up to Christmas. So during those times, we like to have a lot of fun. We spend a lot of time outside. We like to have sled races. We like to play sports outside. We have a huge skating rink where the elves and myself can skate. I'm not nearly as good as a lot of the elves, but yeah, we like to enjoy the outdoors and take time to have fun.
Hmm.
Um, we like to get together for our big meals. We have a huge breakfast in the morning where everybody gets together. We have a team meeting so we can discuss the day's events, what we want to accomplish for that day, and add some fun in there as well.
Now, I've heard that you have a sense of humor. Do you have any funny stories from your years of delivering presents?
Oh, there's so many. My story about the puppy dog is my favorite because I forgot that I'd given it to them last year. But what else comes to mind? I've had I've visited houses where they give me a variety of different foods, not all of which I really like, but I eat them anyways because I don't like to disappoint.
So I gather that Santa doesn't have any allergies
None,
to food
not a single one, not
anyway.
a single one. No, I can eat just about anything.
And sometimes the picture tells the tale.
Yes, it does. It does. Although I'm in better shape now than I'm in pretty good shape now.
Yeah,
Mrs. Claus is keeping very close tabs on me.
that's excellent.
Yep.
Here's one of those questions. If you weren't Santa, what would be your dream job?
Well, Santa is a builder, so mechanic, builder, fabricator, all of those things, and I still practice all of that in Santa's workshop.
Hmm.
I think that if I wasn't Santa, I would be doing something like that, building in my shop, creating,
Working with
yeah,
your hands.
working with my hands and creating.
Hmm.
Yep.
Many people believe in the spirit of Christmas and kindness. What advice do you have for spreading joy and goodwill all year round?
There's an old lesson that we learned when we were kids. It was treat people the way you want to be treated. So, I still live to that rule.
Hmm.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That sticks in my mind and has for all of my years. I just like to treat people the way that I would like to be treated. And I just, my Christmas wish would be that everybody could learn that lesson and
Hmm.
just be nice, not just at Christmas. My goodness, there's you know, 364 other days in the year that we could be nice to each other.
And the kind of spirit that kids have should last a little longer than when they were
Yes,
kids. Yeah.
should. Yep. Yeah, it should last all year long. And that's my Christmas wish.
Hmm.
Everyone out there is
That's a
just
good one. Yeah.
yeah.
Santa, I really appreciate your time today. It was great talking with you, and I know you're busy, and I want to wish you that's the understatement of the day, I know. I want to wish you a safe flight tonight and hope you get to every place you want to get to, and I know you will. And we know that you're going to make a lot of folks happy in the morning. So all the best to you, and again, thank you for your time.
All right, well, thank you very much, Dave. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas.
This episode was recorded a little before Santa climbed into his sleigh for a busy night. Thanks to Santa Norm for the introduction. To those of you listening, thank you, and all the best for the holiday season. My name is Dave Cunningham. The Kingstonian Podcast is produced in Kingston, Ontario, Canada.